welcome to Japanese Craft Beer Reviews. Today we have a kind of special edition. I'm here with two guests and two very knowledgeable guests, and we're going to review a beer that is not a Japanese craft beer, but it's a Japanese major brewery beer. And that beer is this one. Gentlemen, what do we have here? This one is called Suntory, the Premium Malt Akane Ale, and it's in their Japanese Ale series. And we will talk a little bit about the style, and I want to talk about Japanese ale, and then we'll get into the beer itself. Right? But first, let's find out who we have with us today.
Well, okay, let me introduce Lefty, alias Kyoto Lefty on Rate Beer. Really one of the premier beer raters in the world. He's got 15,000, over 15,000 beers with notes on Rate Beer, and over 6,000 of those are Japanese beers. So we're really, we have an expert in the house, folks.
What were you going to call him, Alan?
Well, he's also known as the Michael Jackson of Japan. So
yeah.
that's at least by me. I don't think you want to hear
him sing, but anyway.
Yeah, a lot of research. So.
And
all right, well, I'm very humbled by that introduction, and especially coming from a man like Al here, who has a palate that's pretty unbeatable when it comes to wine, whiskey, beer, or just about anything else. Maybe coffee too, but I can't really comment on that part. Very nice to be working with you and cooperating again on this this channel. It's been a long time since we've been here, so it's kind of nice to be back.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Thank you. Yeah, we have reviewed a few beers together. Most notably, if you want to go take a look at the TDM 1874 series, the three of us looked at 4 different beers from TDM 1874. And we were accompanied by their brewer, George Juniper, as well. That was quite an educational series of videos. All right, well, let's take a look now at this beer, which is Suntory, the Premium Malts Akane Ale. And Akane is a color term in Japanese, sort of a variation of red. Is that accurate, Mark? And yes, it's also that's kind of a poetic name. A poetic color term. And this is in the Red Ale International Amber style. On Rate Beer, it has only 1 rating so far, and that was at 3.3. And on Untapped, there were, I just checked, there were 213 ratings already, 3.31 out of 5. But this was released in August 20th of this year. And it contains several types of dark malt, according to the Suntory website, and a portion of what they call diamond malt and top fermenting yeast. And I'm going to let Mark talk a little bit about the style, which is amber ale, or on Rate Beer, red ale, international amber ale. Mark?
Yeah, this style basically is something that developed in the craft breweries of the United States, based upon based roughly upon British bitters and Irish red ales, but kind of adapted to the American scene with a little bit more hoppiness and maybe a little more aggressive bitterness. And now I think red ale, except for when you're talking about Irish red ales, I mean, I think red ale and amber ale are kind of interchangeable. And so you're looking at something, you know, it's going to be darker than a pale ale. It's going to be reddish to amber, light brown in color. You're going to have caramel notes from that either Munich malt or different kinds of caramel malt. Since this is Japanese ale, I expect it's not as aggressively hopped as an American amber, probably not quite as bitter, and not as much citrus going on, but we'll see.
All right, thank you, Mark. And am I back? I'm back now. Okay, whoops. Let me get to the camera. I have a very bad connection today for some reason, and I guess I'm now, not quite up to speed here. Okay, how does it look, gentlemen?
Well, go for it.
Okay, all right. Suntory has a series called Japanese Ale, and it was launched in 2023 with something called Premium Malt's Kauru Ale. And they claim actually they were going back to, I think, 2014, based on the premise of what is suitable to Japanese tastes. And the interview on the website is with the brand manager, not a brewer, but the brand manager. And so clearly this is a kind of marketing technique designed to go with Japanese food. And he states that, well, foreigners like to drink ales by themselves, but Japanese like to drink beer with meals. And this may be news to some of you, I don't know. And so he said Western ales might not suit the Japanese palate, and so they've developed what they call Japanese ale. And they use a special yeast called BH-154, which I looked up and I could not exactly find information on except links to their own website. And this yeast apparently was developed after a run of 1,000 yeasts that they experimented with. And they also use some polished malt in the beer. So, so it's a variation on their premium malts line, which I think all three of us would probably agree is a very fine line of beers for a Japanese major company. And it is certainly the premium line for Suntory. Okay. All right, so I think we're about ready to get into this. I'm not sure how I'm appearing here, but in any case, shall we go? Shall we go with this? Again, this is called Suntory, the Premium Malts Japanese Ale, Akane Ale, Akane Color Ale. Here we go. Okay, take a look at the color. What do we got here?
We've got 3 different colors.
We've got 3 different lighting systems and 3 different colors.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody want to comment? What color do you have there, Mark?
Kind of a light brownish, transparent, filtered, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not
Like
specifically
red.
red. I'm sorry?
More brown, amber than red, like most of these beers
Yeah.
called red.
Right. Sort of a, yeah, a light reddish tinged brown. Okay, let's go for the aroma. Gentlemen, feel free.
Well, very malty.
Very malty.
Surprisingly so.
Certainly some caramel.
Seems also quite a yeast, quite an influence from the yeast. I get a lot of esters and fruits, more so than the hops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. Very malt dominant.
Yeah, very toasty. Okay. All right.
All right.
Any special fruit notes out of this?
Little cherry, maybe. Slight
Kind of red
citrus.
fruit. Okay. Gentlemen, cheers.
All right, kanpai.
Kanpai. Wow.
Not bad.
Okay. Could be worse.
Very light bitterness.
Very rounded mouthfeel, malty. I got a little, I think you mentioned cherry. I definitely get some of that.
I think it starts off a little bit a little bit sweet, but it blends right away into the fruitiness. The hops.
Pretty dry finish, like a lot of Japanese beers that are meant to go with food. Not bitter, but dry finish.
Yeah. The brand manager was talking about beer that goes, ale that goes well with Japanese food. I think what he was talking about is, we could probably translate it as something innocuous that won't, won't assault your tongue in any way, shape, or form, and let you appreciate the very, very subtle flavors.
Yes, of course, the ultimate representative of that is the egregious Asahi Super Dry.
Super Dry, which I've tried to convince Alan it's not the worst beer in the world, but he...
Oh, good God.
The 3.2 version is worse.
Yeah, but back to this one, though. This has got some body. It's got the flavor kind of carries on through it. So, yeah, my expectations were a little bit lower, perhaps. I'd say this has got some flavor that, not bad. It's the dry finish, as Kyoto Lefty has mentioned here. Yeah, I kind of like it.
One point about this is that, go ahead, Mark.
I find with this series that I almost universally prefer the lagers to the ales. Makes sense, to me, because they've been making lagers a lot longer than they've been making ales, and they've kind of got that nailed. Although I think the last couple of years, they've been slowly getting better with the ale versions. I do think this one is decent.
Yeah.
Easy drinking. It's flavorful without being, bursting with flavor.
So the premium malts line is a lager line, but they have introduced ales now in this Japanese ale series, and as Mark said, it kind of a growing or work in progress for them.
I think they didn't cross the line where they go below like the malt level. In some earlier versions of a lot of the Japanese majors, is the malting was just stingy, not only the hops, but the amount of malt. And it was just, they'd be thin. The flavor would disappear pretty quickly. That's not the case here. And so I'm kind of happy with this guy. I think you might be right that they've evolved and gotten better at it.
I'd like to compare this with their amber lager and to see, how the malt bill and the hop bills kind of relate to them. I don't think it's the same. It's not just different yeast, I think, but it would be interesting to compare.
Yeah, I think they are doing a pretty good job here overall. Personally, I feel Suntory is the second best of the Japanese majors after Sapporo. But like Sapporo, they experiment a lot. They put a lot of things out on the market. Kirin and Asahi, much less so. So, they're trying a lot and trying to basically see what sticks, I think, what will sell. And so.
If you were going to rate this using the Rate Beer 5-point scale, I'm curious what you guys might give this. Now, I'll nail my pants to the mast here by saying I give it about a 3.5.
Yeah, I'd go a little lower than that, maybe.
Yeah, I'm a kind of I'm a little bit easy. What can I say?
What did you say, Al? 3 what?
I give it a 3.5.
3.5. I would say 3.4, maybe 3.3. It's got a lot of flavor.
Okay.
I'm finding that I'm growing bored of it, though. I think that the lack of, I don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Just making it a comparison, it's clearly an industrial brew. It's a good brew for an industrial brew, but I just had Kyoto Brewing's Akino Kimagure. They call it a red IPA. So, but it's 6.5 as opposed to 6. So the difference between this style is not that huge, but the difference in malt character as well as hop character is enormous.
Yeah.
I mean, it costs 3 times as much too, so you should expect that, I guess. But
Right.
craft beer is different, and this is definitely lacking when you compare it to a well-made craft beer in the style.
Mhm.
But as an industrial beer that's relatively cheap in Japan and easy to find, you can find it in any convenience store. It's all right. This is my 3rd time having it, so I guess
Okay.
Yeah.
This is why we have Kyoto Lefty on here, is to kind of keep the scores realistic. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep us in keep us
My
in the
first
real
beer of the
world,
day
yeah.
is always rated high. That's a bad habit I have.
Yeah. That's the point. This is 6. We didn't mention that it's 6% alcohol.
No, which is a little, yeah.
maybe
So-
more so later in the autumn than this late summer day that we're having now.
Yeah, I think this is probably, this is probably designed certainly as an autumn beer, given the colors, the colors of the sky and the colors here. So, yeah, so it might go well in the cooler autumn months, if they ever arrive. Okay, gentlemen, final thoughts?
I would say, I think we all said it, easy drinking. I would definitely say, yeah, easy drinking.
Maybe
If you're on a budget or you're in Japan now, this is a limited, beer. So give it a try. I would say it's worth a try, and then compare it, and then go to a craft brewery. By all means, definitely make it to craft breweries and try out, the real deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. Okay, faint praise, but some praise for sure.
Okay, I'll lower my score to 3-3. You guys bullied me into it.
Okay, yeah. Well, thank you, gentlemen. And once again, we've looked at Suntory, the premium malts Akane Ale. And thank you, gentlemen. Cheers.
Thank you.
And I hope you're all doing well. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Cheers.